You're listening to the ReachCast show, your weekly stop for the latest and greatest in the PlanetSide 2 universe and its community.
Welcome, everyone. It is June 10th, and you are listening to episode 89 of the ReachCast show. We are proud members of the AGN and podcast networks. As always, well, maybe not always, I am your host, Deringer. With me tonight is my special guest, Ak. Ak, how are you this evening?
Doing good. How about you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Torx, unfortunately, has been buried under a tremendous load of work and was unable to make it last night. He's also unable to make it tonight. He may never be on the show again, as far as I know. Has he said anything to you, Ak?
No, I've not heard from him, so maybe he's...
Yeah, see, he hasn't even told you anything. He might be dead for all I know.
Strong. Him and Knox are probably, buried in the same
They're
hole.
probably drinking, let's be honest.
That's true, too. Or no, Knox is too busy deadlifting or whatever the heck it was he was doing.
Yes, he's probably deadlifting Torx.
That's a strong possibility.
And that's why they're not here this evening. All right. This week, we are brought to you by our Amazon link. Located in the Support the Show tab on ReachCastShow.com. Father's Day is this Sunday, and I'm sure your dad wants something from Amazon, so don't forget to use our link when you buy your father that great gift, like, I don't know, a grill thermometer or a tie or socks. I don't know. I don't even know what to get my father this year. He gets a Barnes & Noble gift certificate every year. I feel like it's the crappiest gift ever.
Or an SOE game card.
Yeah, and my dad doesn't play. My dad doesn't use a computer. Is that
how's that even possible?
I think he uses it for work, but otherwise he doesn't use a computer. He doesn't email. He's not on any social media. He doesn't use a computer.
His life seems very simple.
Yeah, it probably is pretty simple. He probably leads the best life out of anybody I know.
I was starting to say I kind of envy him now
because he doesn't need to use a computer and doesn't have to worry about any of that. So there's a little shout out to my dad before Father's Day on episode 89. 89. Oh. I can't believe that we're zeroing in on 100 shows of ReachCast personally. It's been a long journey. All right. Well, enough banter. What's in store for today's show? First, June 3rd patch. There's talk of a merger between servers. People are up in arms over Tank and Liberator changes. Well, more Liberator than Tank. There's some roadmap changes, and apparently there's this thing called E3 going on right now. But without further ado, let's move over to our interrogation segment.
There.
Listen, you're gonna tell us everything we want to know.
Okay.
Now you are involved in the ReachCast Empire interrogations.
As Torx like to say, the waterboard is out. Ak, are you strapped in and ready to go?
I'm ready to go. Put the bag on my head.
The bag on your head, dripping the water into your mouth.
Yeah, I'm just hoping it is water.
Well, don't forget I'm here. It's not like Torx or Knox or anybody else are here.
Yeah, that makes me feel a little better.
So, I actually think I know you pretty well, Ak.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely from live, and we've done the show one time before in the past, and back in the old Imperial Reach days.
Yeah, for those that don't know, Ak and I stayed together at SOE Live. It was a grand old time. Like I said, I think I got to know you pretty well during that time. Hopefully I was a courteous roommate.
Yeah, like I told you, when the last day the shower mat went down, I was like, the maid forgot. And every morning I realized it was Deringer doing it, not the maid.
Well, I like to think that my parents trained me well. Well, I know I wouldn't be doing Torx a proper service if I didn't throw the questions at you like this. Tell us about Ak, stuff that we don't know about Ak. Who is the real Ak, the man behind the man?
Well, I pretty much, I don't really play a whole lot of games. PlanetSide's pretty much it, which is kind of odd in my opinion, because most guys I know that play tons of different games, and this is pretty much the only one I play. Some hobbies I've got. I'm a huge whitewater rafter. Something I enjoy and do several times each year. I actually went down once in a ReachCast shirt down the Ocoee last year, which I never did send you the pic.
Oh.
And you couldn't see the logo anyway because I had a vest on, a life vest. But
maybe we should make some ReachCast bandanas.
That would be a good idea. I think you can do that on Spreadshirt, actually.
I think so too.
And Rail would freaking have to have one, right?
Yeah, we'd probably send him one complimentary.
True, very true. The other stuff I do, I'm huge into comic books too, so that's pretty much what I do. Spending my time playing PlanetSide, comic books, and whitewater rafting when I can during that season.
You provided a lot of interesting comic book questions last time we had Raider X on the show. I know. I don't think you stumped him with any question, but I know that you threw a lot of comic book related stuff at him. Yeah,
me and him have Twitter conversations about comics every once in a while, so he's pretty up on it. He reads quite a bit too.
Yeah, he definitely is up on it as well. I'm not a comic book guy by any stretch of the imagination, so it's like gibberish to me. I mean, obviously I know what comic books are. I'm not stupid, but I don't collect them and I don't read them. But it's just me. How about something that people don't know about you? Now Torx and I and Knox and I all know.
Right. The thing I've got to throw up is the bull riding thing.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
I mean, that's a given because that's in my opinion that's one of the most different things that probably anybody's ever going to come on here and tell you about. So I mean, it may not be as cool as breakdancing and some other things, but when I was younger, for probably about 5 years, I actually rode bulls professionally. Nothing like big like PBR or anything like that. And it was small local circuits near where I live and stuff like that. But did it on and off for about 6 years.
You still rode a freaking bull.
Yeah, it's pretty intense when you think about it. I mean, it's crazy. And like another thing I tell people, and they don't believe this, but I swear to God, when I was a kid, one of the ways that we learned when you were really young was you actually, and this sounds bad, you actually rode sheep.
That does sound bad.
So that's, people in Scotland do it all the time, I guess. But yeah, that's kind of like how I first learned how to do it was like when I was probably 7, 8. That that's what you went, and then you started going up, bigger animals. Like then we went rode a steer until we finally got up to like the 2-ton bulls.
I don't even know what to say because that scares the crap out of me.
It's pretty intense. Like the only time I ever really really got hurt was actually I fell in the chute before we even started, before my ride even started, and got hurt really bad. But actually after I got out of the chute and rode, I never actually really did get, anything, bumps and bruises and, pulled muscle once or twice, but nothing major.
I know that we're both members of the Plates and Screws Club.
Yes.
If you're not a member, we can't talk about it.
Yeah, which like I agree. The people are always like the metal detector thing. I'm like, no, it doesn't.
It still surprises me that it doesn't work like that. But
do you know if the wand does? I've never actually, if they ever wand you. Like I've never actually, don't think I've ever got pulled out of line, and got the full search.
That's because we're normal people. We don't get pulled out of line and searched. I mean, let's be honest. No, I've never been wanded either.
So
I really have a bad joke in the back of my head, but I'm just
that's what I'm thinking. I'm like,
I'm going to keep it to myself.
I'm going to be PC. So.
All right. I think that's about it that we're going to interrogate you for tonight. So we might as well just move on to patch notes, because this week we actually had a patch, and I believe it's the last one for a little while. So let's roll into that right now.
I'm going to get these mosquitoes in the air and rain down some hellfires on those fools. Oh no! What the fuck? I should have listened to the ReachCast patch notes.
All right, as most players are aware, there was a June 3rd patch. Starting off, there was a new membership perk added. This is a squad boost. I'm taking full advantage of this because members in a squad now provide the entire group with a 3% bonus to experience. And the best part is this stacks with other boosts, and you'll know that you're stacking because you actually have 2 little arrows next to your name rather than just one. I think the member one is it blue?
Yeah, I believe the member one's blue and this new one's yellow. if I'm not I think.
Yeah, I think the new one's yellow. Definitely there's a blue one and a yellow one. I don't remember which one is the new memberships perk. I should ask.
Maybe they should just make a green arrow if you have both, since it's,
Well, I kind of like the
green,
blue.
right?
I kind of like the blue and yellow because you can kind of see them both, and you have two. Whereas, if it was just one arrow, you might be confused.
True.
I don't know. I like it, and hey, when I'm running with people, I see this all the time. There's lots of boosts. Chat room saying it's the blue one. Thank you, chat room. So, yellow squad boost. Blue is the new membership boost. There's your answer for everybody. We should have done our homework before the show. I apologize. I will take all the blame. It's not Ock. It's all me. So I'm seeing this all over the place now, like I was saying. And the XP boost I'm getting overall, it's just kind of ridiculous. When you have a whole ton of these, I don't know if you're running in full 12-man squads all the time, but I am. And when all 12 people have this, that's a hell of a lot of extra experience.
Yeah, we've been moving squad members into squad, like when we do open squads.
Yeah,
and we'll put all of our guys in in the platoon in one squad, so we get the benefits, and then the puggies are in another squad, not getting the XP boost.
Hey, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, so it works pretty good. So
if you're a pubby player, or a pug or whatever, get the boost. They'll bring you into Alpha Squad.
Upgrade now.
You wanted to play in Charlie Squad. All right, next up, there were some general changes to continent domination. So the threshold for gaining the benefit is now 94%, which is up from 75%. The threshold for losing is now at 7%, down from 15%. And also a short deploy timer was added to instant action when you are dead. The biggest change in June 3rd that I was very happy about is all these new ribbons. I am getting this first one, resupply, non-stop. So just to roll through all the ribbons real quickly, there's a resupply one that's basically for ammo, includes vehicles resupplies. An air deterrent one for surface-to-air damage. Air superiority, that's air-to-air kills. Anti-tank for destroying tanks, obviously. A recon for motion sensor and scout radar assists. Spotter for spotting assists. AMS support, that's by allowing your team to spawn at your sunderer. Marksman for infantry kills at ranges greater than or equal to 70 meters. Vehicular combat includes road kills and rams while in a vehicle. Point control is for capturing consoles and kills around them, not just the console itself. Savior for saving teams from certain death. Objective for support, this is overloading, stabilizing, destroying generators. Squad spawn, that's allowing your squad members to spawn via beacons, sunderers, or galaxies. And finally, a deployment one, and this is for transporting friendly players who go on to earn kills shortly thereafter. I don't know about you, Ak, but this is basically free experience for me.
Yeah, and it's like, normally you get could get the 5 bonuses or whatever per day.
Yes.
And now it seems like I'm playing the game for like 10 minutes or less, and I've already maxed out all 5 of them. And some nights it seems like it took, half an hour, but now it's just like they're rolling in and out like crazy. So I love it. I think it's a great addition to the game and just, gets us more XP.
I'm getting the resupply one constantly. I'm getting the spotter one constantly. I'm getting the point control one constantly. And you're right. I play less than 10 minutes now, and I already have all 5. And I'm maxed out for the day. And just getting the regular, not the bonus experience to the ribbon, but just the regular experience. So yeah, I'm happy with them, honestly.
Yeah, me too. I think it's a great addition that they brought in.
The spotter one, too. I love using the implant that auto spots when you damage a player. And I'm just racking up the spotter one with that.
I mainly think I'm with you. The resupply one, I've been playing a lot of engineer lately. That's been probably the one I've been using most. And the air deterrents, I've used it some too, because of course we see a lot of libs right now. So that's probably the 2 that I've been really seeing the most of. And Savior, I've gotten a few times too. That seems to be probably one of the other ones I seem to be showing up on my screen.
Yeah, I haven't been getting that one as much, but maybe if we do some more air deterrence type stuff. So, all right. Let's move on from the glorious ribbon section to bugs. They put in place a speculative fix for that base flipping issue. That would be where the points would randomly start flipping over to a different faction when no one was on the point itself. They refactored some code that will help improve how these errors are handled in general. And they did add a lot of logging to these cases, so in case the two fixes don't work, that they can figure out exactly what is causing the problem. I can't say that I've noticed the base flipping issue since this went live, so for me at least, I think they probably have it locked down and fixed.
I've not really noticed it either. We had an instance the other night where I thought that it was that was the case, and then we ended up finding it was an infiltrator.
Yeah.
So and the only bug that's on my list of driving me crazy is the iron sights for the primary rocket launchers. It's still not fixed, and it's just that one's driving me crazy. Which some people are saying you can switch weapons and stuff, and it should go away, but it doesn't always do that.
See, that one doesn't bother me as much because I always use the ground to air rocket for everything. I don't use any of the standard ones. I don't use the. Is it? You're primarily TR, so you're talking about the SCAP.
Yeah. No, I mean like ML7.
Oh, the ML7. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So ML7, I would use the grounder instead because that can lock on to both air and still dumbfire. So I don't even bother with the primary one anymore.
I've just gotten, I think, used to the speed of it, the directory speed. Like I have a hard time using the decimator because the arc on it and the drop off, close range, I can use a little bit better, but any type of distance, I struggle with it.
Yeah, I gotcha. All right. Next up, there was a cert refund for people who purchased, a small group of people who purchased optics. Some of them were charged twice for certain optic purchases. Anybody who did get charged twice should have received a refund. There were some changes to implants as well, where the energy values were increased for the chargers themselves, and the drop rates for implants themselves was reduced. I really noticed the drop rate being reduced. It seemed like implants were dropping left and right, and now all of a sudden I'm getting far less in a gaming session than I was prior to this patch going in, and I don't know that I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I noticed too, like, I thought maybe something was going on, or maybe they put a cap on it, until I read this, because it seems like I was almost I would get at least 5 tier 1s.
Oh, easily.
Every night, at least, to make a tier 2. And now, like the last 2 or 3 days, I think in 3 days I only made 1 tier 2.
Yeah, I think I'm the same way. I was making, I was easily getting 15 to 20 a night, and I'm down to maybe getting 5 to 10, much lower than I was before. And I don't know that I'm happy with that. I understand why they did it, and I'm feeling selfish for not being happy with the change, but I understand they want to lengthen the time for people to get every implant and start doing just their charger dance, turning everything into chargers. So they're able to make them last longer this way. And I get that, but I kind of got used to it. It's kind of like the legendary drop rate in Diablo 3. They jacked that up for a special week and then they didn't take it away. And so people got used to it and they're all happy with it. I feel like we got kicked in the nuts by Sony.
Yeah, it's, they, as always, they started us off too good and went backwards a little bit.
Yeah, that's always the case.
You can't, give it up like that and then just take it away. It's just not right.
Yeah, I will give Dr. Joski in the chat room props for calling that this would happen. He is absolutely right. He did call it, if not last week, the week before in the show, and he is absolutely right. So props to you, sir. He says next on the list, Battle Hardened will get nerfed. So we'll hold you to that one, sir. All right. Let's wrap up this patch with the most important fix as far as I'm concerned. Infantry decals now appear over armor. I can finally wear my poodle decal with pride on every loadout.
I'm looking for the hallelujah music.
Yeah, that's Torx. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think this. I'm glad this finally get in. Now, if they would just give us the option to actually be able to submit our own decals more. I mean, a few people have gotten some things in, but that would make life. I know the outfits, want their own decals on their armor, of course. So that would be great. But
which still could eventually be coming. But and I do remember that once this change went in, they offered 30% discount, or was it 20% discount on all decals?
I know they went on sale. I can't remember which one it was either.
I know it was 30%, but I can't remember if that's including my membership discount.
I can't remember either.
It has to be including my membership discount, which is 10% off. But I mean, all I could hear was the cash registers, as people were just going crazy buying as many as they could.
I still pretty much wear my PSU one all the time. I think it's the main one I've got on, and whatever the one was that you got for, I think it was the donation for the charity or whatever for that. They were trying to raise money for somebody.
Was it the Wounded Warrior Project one?
I think so, because it's got like the black, looks like the TR helmet or whatever with the skull.
Yeah, it must be. I don't think it's not the TR helmet. It's more, is it kind of like a gladiator type helmet?
Oh, yeah, that might have been it.
That's definitely for Wounded Warrior Project.
Yeah, I wear it a lot too because it's darker. The PSU ones, I wear it on my black camo, but the PSU one I wear on most of the other camos.
I still wear the T-Ray one on most of my stuff.
I put the T-Ray ones on my vehicles, but I don't have it on my actual armor.
Yeah, it's on my vehicles and my armor too. But I mean, I should definitely switch over to the Poodle now. I do like the Poodle. I really, when I played PlanetSide 1 and I was running a VS outfit, our logo was the Poodle, and that's why I've always loved the Poodle.
The best in show.
Not even the best in show, the OG Poodle. That's the way I roll. Gotta love my OG Poodle. All right. That's it for the patches. Unfortunately, I forgot to grab the Nox, ooh sound.
Oh, the sound.
Because we're supposed to give, from now on, we're doing all our patches are getting a rating of 1 to 5. Ooh, yes, of Nox. Looking at this is kind of a minor one. I'm thinking it'd probably get a 3.
What's last week, I think, when Torx was hitting that multiple times in a row, I'm sure that's what, very few women in the St. Louis area have heard before if they spend a night with Nox.
All right, well, let's wrap that up and let's move right on to community briefing.
Attention, soldiers! Get your butts in here for this week's community briefing.
All right, Ock, there's a reason we brought you on the show. Take it away.
All right. Well, obviously, the big news this week was Smedley announcing that the MATTHerson watERSON server's coming on Twitter. The direct quote was looking good for MATTHerson and watERSON merge. A few days later, on Higby, on the chat through a Twitch channel, said looking at probably next week. So I'm guessing that we'll probably hear something probably by the end of this week. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a Twitch chat. I don't remember the exact day, so it could have been earlier this week or it could have been over the weekend. So I mean, we could either see that as early as this week or I'm assuming as late as next week. Either way, there was some news regarding naming. Yes.
Possibly something that I think the community actually came up with, was talking about doing a MATTHerson server smash, and the winner gets to keep the name.
That is going to be epic.
So we all have our fingers crossed. It's something I think that, is really strongly being considered. I think I actually saw something where Higby tweeted that he really liked the idea, but, we still don't know anything about it, whether it's going to happen. And, I know, Odin's Pride's really been into it, after the guys at SOE to see if they can get it done. So we all got our fingers crossed and hoping it happens.
It would be cool. First thought, though, well, not first thought, because first thought is yes, sign me up, I'm in, I'm all in. Second thought is, can you imagine the crying that's going to come out of it from the losing empire?
Oh,
losing server?
Oh, it'll be astronomical, but I still think it'd be worth it. Even, I mean, I play on WaTERSON mostly exclusively. I play a little bit on Connery, but mostly on WaTERSON. And even if we lost, it's still, just to be able to try to fight for the name is, I just think that's awesome that they're even considering letting us do this. So
yeah.
I hope it happens.
I really think just the crying is just, I mean, I don't want to say that MATTHerson's the favorite, but I could just see if WaTERSON won and it got named the WaTERSON server, a lot of the MATTHersson outfits just absolutely raging.
Strong possibility.
I mean, there's lots of talk that when you merge MATTHersson and WaTERSON, you take the MATTH from MATTHersson and the ERSON from WaTERSON, and your new server is MATTHersson.
Yeah, so they win either way. I don't know how what the drama's like on MATTHersson. I don't think the WaTERSON people would be. Of course we want to keep the name, but I don't think you'd hear too much, honestly. From what I know, the guys over there, I don't think we would get too upset. We just want to play the game and kill people. So, but we'll see how it turns out. Because I seen another post where a bunch of people were talking about wanting to call it Emerald from Planet PS1, which is that idea is cool too. But I just anytime you get the community involvement in this and can actually have some sort of competition for it, that's just going to just make everything a whole lot more fun and cooler for everybody.
Yeah, I agree. Now, I think before we actually get into talking about the populations and stuff like that, I do know a few people have said that they're not happy about this merge. And the main reason they're not happy is it's like one more death knell for PlanetSide 2. If servers have to merge, it means that obviously the people are leaving the game where there's not enough people in the game currently to support 2 servers any longer, and a few people see it as, like I said, just the beginning of the end for PlanetSide 2, or worst case, going back to one single US server like it was in PlanetSide 1.
I know it gets a bad stigma in any game, I think, because I've played other games too in the past where they merge servers or just reduce the amount of servers just because, but I personally, in my opinion, it's going to give us more people to fight against. I could care less. That's what, I would like to be able to log in and see, a major fight going on all 3 continents as opposed to just one. And that may not change, but it seems like, every once in a while when I do play on Connery with their higher pop, it's, there's usually at least 2 huge freaking fights going on 2 different continents. So I'm really looking forward to it. I understand people, always thinking that, like you're saying, it's a death knell, but I personally think it's a great thing.
Yeah, I'm not too upset about it either because obviously I'll be able to kill you.
Exactly. instead of you used to heal me and pick me up off the ground. So.
Yeah, that's true. Are there any other, I should have asked you this before the show, is there anybody else from the old Imperial Reach days that still plays? Actually,
there are. I kind of was floating solo for a while and joined an outfit not long ago called Q Pro and been having a lot of fun with those guys. And I've actually, Bear and Vantress are in the outfit.
Oh, okay.
There's been a few other people that are in there, and there's still a few guys that I see every once in a while that log in or something, and I'll talk to them. But that's pretty much the only 2. Bear and Vantress are 2 main guys that I talk to and still see.
Well, it'll be good to add them to my friends list and hit them up in Yell Chat
after you shoot them with
after I shoot them. Let's face it, they'll probably kill me first.
Yeah, you have the OP weapon, so
yeah, I don't know about that. All right.
So yeah.
Should we talk about these populations?
Yeah, let's. I know on experience on WaTERSON, it seems like we've got a decently high VS population, and we've got NC populations probably just right there behind them. I think some of the bigger outfits that I see are on the NC, but TR are, in my opinion, struggling, and that's what I play. We seem like we have the smallest population, or either that or we're just very unorganized. And I'm hoping it's the smallest population.
And TR used to be huge, though.
Yeah.
I mean Britt was there.
Yeah, Brit Lee, the guys from Brit, and I still think they're floating around a little bit, or maybe consolidated with some other outfits and stuff. But after that was gone, it seemed like the VS popped up. Then a few months ago, it was just we were getting overran by NC, and then like the last 2 or 3 days, NC have been winning almost all the territory alerts. They've been drilling us. So we'll see. We'll see.
That'll be good. That's not the case on MATTHerson lately.
Yeah, the NC may be okay. I'm still worried about the TR because from what I hear on MATTHerson, the TR are not very plentiful over there either. So,
well, let me talk about MATTHerson for a second. And the reason we're doing this for everybody who's listening is that some people who play on watERSON and listen to the show may have no idea what MATTHerson is like. And same thing, some people who play solely on MATTHerson and really don't know what watERSON is like at all. So here's your little prep for the merger itself. So MATTHerson. There is a large VS presence on MATTHerson. There isn't as large NC and TR. So that does kind of concern me if watERSON has a large VS population as well, that there's going to be a lot of VS players once the two servers merge. Other than that, I think VS owns the sky for the most part on MATTHerson. It's different on watERSON though, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the NC have, in my opinion, probably one of the best air outfits I've ever seen per.
Mm-hmm.
They don't always own the sky. I really think it just depends on what's going on. I've seen some really good, TR outfits up in the air. But watERSON's kind of I don't think there's one thing that they do more than the others. I think it's really spread out, between armor, air, and infantry.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can tell you that VS have some decent air. I mean, NNG and Great White Whales are big in the air on MATTHerson as well. And I know Great White Whales and Prey were kind of head-to-head against each other during Community Clash as well. So I don't think they're strangers to each other. As for ground, I mean, Goater, Ghost of the Revolution, can roll more mag riders than you can shake a fist at. But on the flip side, Black Widow Company on TR, I see them in Prowlers all the time. So, NC on MATTHerson are kind of in the middle. I see NC can put together their own tank Zerg as well. I don't think we're as good in the sky on MATTHerson as it sounds like they are on watERSON. So I think those two populations actually might merge well together to make NC more balanced in the end.
Strong possibility, because like I said, they got some really good air outfits.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's go through some of the bigger or more known outfits. You want me to start with MATTHerson?
Yeah, go ahead.
So as I said, VS, we've got Ghost of the Revolution, Das Anfall. Everybody knows Das Anfall won Community Clash. We have NNG, No Nonsense Gamers, Vindicators, Test. That's the Reddit community's VS outfit. We have Azure Twilight. They're not as big as they were in the past, but they can still field a lot of people if they put their minds to it. Great White Whales, as I said, we all know Dreadnought in his Liberator is always in the sky everywhere that you go. There's definitely some bigger NC outfits as well. Blue Lions, which were an original PlanetSide 1 outfit, are still going strong. Voodoo Company, Black Arrows, Vanguard, and Sturm Grenadier. Sturm Grenadier was also in Community Clash. They're pretty big on MATTHerson as well. For TR, by far the biggest one that I see everywhere, Black Widow Company, they're everywhere. Also, Exoc is out there. Honey Badgers are big as well. And 903rd is always in the air on MATTHerson as well. They're usually lolpotting me nonstop. So TR does have a presence. I think, like I said, Black Widow Company and Honey Badgers are probably the two bigger outfits on MATTHerson for TR. So I don't think that you're going to be... I think I kind of agree with you that TR are probably getting the short end of the stick of the merger. But it's not like there's some minuscule outfits out there.
That sounds good. As long as, they're willing to work with us, because I know our command chat's pretty busy over there and stuff. And a lot of the outfits really are team oriented and work with each other. Some of them not so much, but for the most part, we work pretty well together or try to.
Mm-hmm.
So, talk about some of the outfits on watERSON. Some of these that maybe not necessarily be the biggest outfits, but in my opinion, they're some of the, they may be smaller, but they're really strong outfits. On the VS, we've got Zenith Onslaught. Those guys have been around for quite a while. I see them all the time. Met some of those guys at SOE Live last year. They were actually really good dudes. Zaps, sex, drugs, and lasers, still around, still pretty strong. Dawn, and I think it was Sugar or Sunshine Delivery Service.
Which is a great name.
Yeah, I like the name, and I've seen the outfit tag a lot, the QPTR, and never realized that, I don't know how they got Sunshine Delivery Service out of that, but, we'll go with it. This and then some of the NC outfits, got POTP, PHX, Prey, of course, like I mentioned earlier, big outfit in the air, PXP.
Somebody was telling me about Rel was telling me about PXP earlier, saying that they're pretty good.
I think they're pretty strong. I see those guys a lot. They seem to work really well together. The NC have, as far as sometimes in smaller groups, I can watch them hold off, a whole TR Zerg sometimes. Mm-hmm. They do really well. And TIW is another one. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with them because they were really into MLG, and they're still going pretty strong. They're a little harder to get into that outfit, and the smaller numbers, but like I said, they're looking for MLG.
Elemental TRL in chat says, "I hate the Sunshine Delivery Service." It's a glowing recommendation right there from the chat room.
That's yeah. I'm not sure. They shoot me a lot, so I'm guessing they're not. I don't know what the deal is, but reading what he's saying about them. But then some of the bigger TR outfits, we got 382nd, Hells Rangers, Ironclad Rangers, Republic Marines, DD12. Those like my outfit I'm in, Q Pro. We're not super big either. We're kind of making a comeback, so but I think we're really tactical and organized, so that's the main reason I like hanging out with those guys. But
you were telling me about DD12. What's that? Dirty Dozen 12? Is that what it is?
From my understanding, it is. I think some guys that were in NUC that are still trying to keep the MLG, hopes going for that was some of the guys that were interested in, because I know a lot of the guys from NUC decided to leave when it didn't look like MLG was happening anytime soon. So, they're new. I still can't speak on them too much. They ran ops with us one night, but so far that's they're looking like they're trying to I guess so to speak be the TIW on our server for the TR. Yeah,
I noticed you didn't mention NUC, so NUC's completely dead for the most part, huh?
For the most part, it looks like they are. But then today I saw a post where Jenseric said he was back playing. So, he was one of the leaderships. Yeah. So, I don't know for sure what's going on there. If they're going to make another run at it or what. I know Zoid's, not touching it from what I see. He's world of tanking it like crazy. So we'll see. We'll see what happens if some of those guys come back. And maybe we'll get back around. I know they had some really great players. Like, I think there was a dude named Sexual Tyrannosaurus that gave us like a class. I love that name. They basically helped us out one time with like just some general things in game about like one-on-one shots and fighting and stuff like that, and it improved my KD, which is still not good, but quite a bit. But so those guys really had their stuff together for a while.
Yeah, I was going to have Jenseric on tonight, but since it was basically his first day back in game, he just kind of felt like he didn't know enough about the game. He said he could sit here and look pretty, but that was about it.
I seen him at live. I disagree.
Ouch.
Sorry, Jenseric, if you listen. But yeah, well, like I said, we'll see what happens with those guys making a comeback, because I know a lot of them really had their heart set on the MLG thing. So we'll see how it plays out.
All right. I know that I have a list on my side, but is there anybody that we need to watch out for? Anybody who just is going to rub people the wrong way on WaTERSON?
Personality wise, and just, in my opinion, being just a general douchebag. No, not really. We don't have anything over there that's really like that. And I hate to really call somebody out, but there's the outfit I mentioned, 382nd. They're one of the largest outfits on there, for TR. They are a Zerg outfit, and I don't know if it's intentional, but it's just like getting team killed left and right by those guys. It's like, I have all these bullets, and I think I'm just going to unload them into this guy who's the same color as me back, and not worry about the enemy. And it's just it's awful sometimes, but we'll see. Hopefully, maybe it's just a leadership thing, and they get the guys in control. But seems like that's the only outfit that I ever really get into any kind of problem with.
Well, like I said, I have a list. So specifically, this is the first one you got to watch out for. He plays TR. I am Commander Shepard. Get ready. I hear when he's in command chat that it's just a nightmare. So if your command chat's on, turn it off right now. So you enjoy I am Commander Shepard. So that from there, if you're playing NC, Stu 360, Wisdom Cube, I need to mute them somehow because yeah, it's just awful. Obviously Borsk is on our server and he was talked about a lot last week with hacking. And then my favorite, and you'll see him all the time on VS hiding in a tower, never coming out, farming people. It's VS Derp. So get ready for him too.
I will definitely put these guys on my friends list. And
you're gonna want to just hang yourself after a few moments of Shepard talking.
Can we convince him to go back and play Mass Effect instead of this?
Yeah, I don't think so. Think so.
Worth a shot. They are coming out with another one, I think, at some point. So
yeah, I did see that at E3. Another one's coming out too. So yeah, if you play NC, mute Stu 360 and Wisdom Cube is the chat room's recommendation. VS Derp, yeah, watch out for VS Derp. Like I said, he just likes to sit in his towers, and he just plays in yell chat more than the actual game itself. So.
Appreciate the heads up.
All right. Let's move on to the most exciting thing on our list, and this would be the Tank and Liberator changes that, was it Kevmo who posted this, I think, in the official forums? Let me click the link and I'll tell you in a sec, because I think it was Kevmo, but I don't want to, I want to give it proper. Yeah, it was Kevmo. And first off, people are up in arms because they're not happy. But let's take a few minutes and just roll through some of these changes. So first we'll start with the tanks. So they're looking to solve movement issues and cautious play that they're seeing on live. So really, reverse speed and acceleration are going to be made identical to forward speed and acceleration. This means you're not going to see as many tanks turning around and running away because they'll move just as fast going into reverse. People have already asked how this is going to affect Racer and Rival. Racer will still increase both forward and reverse speed. Rival will no longer have a bonus to reverse speed. They realize that it will cause Rival to be less attractive, and they've got some thoughts on how to improve it if that happens. Next up with tanks, their primary turrets will be stabilized, which means if it goes over rough terrain, the elevation of the turret won't change unless it hits a constraint like a rock or something like that. I'm kind of interested to see how this is going to work out. I'm a big tank guy, so I'm looking forward to play with a stabilized turret, not bouncing around. Not that I really think I have too much trouble with it, but I can understand that there's not a lot of movement and there's a lot of cautious play because currently people with tanks just kind of sit in the back and shell. So I'm interested to see how that stabilization is going to be when you actually see rolling groups of tanks go through. Now for the one thing that people are kind of getting upset about is effective ranges are being reduced on all the main cannons. So this consists of adding gravity and slowing down projectiles to encourage tanks to get closer to the targets they intend to fight. Now, details regarding the velocity, they're looking to add 1 gravity for tanks, and change how velocity scales. And they're going to be using the Mag Rider's heat cannon as the baseline. So right now, when we talk about math, the heat has a velocity of 200. That will likely remain unchanged. So they're looking to increase everything else up to that or decrease everything to that velocity itself. So Mag Rider and Prowler heat will probably end up going to 215 instead of 225. Prowler could go to 230, et cetera, et cetera. They're looking to use that as the baseline. So ultimately, the Mag Rider will be the least affected from the velocity change itself. So I know I kind of just ran through it all pretty quickly. You used to ride around in tanks in Prowlers with me. What are your thoughts?
I definitely think the stationary turret is going to be interesting. We'll see how that plays out. I think that could definitely make the movement easier, because I know TR's got the lockdown mode, but honestly, sometimes locking down is just death. I mean, it is. So I usually like to stay mobile, and depending on the train you're going over, you miss a lot of shots if you're jumping around and stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. As far as the velocity changes, I think looking through these, it looks like that's going to help us out in the Prowlers a lot. So I'm all for that.
It may, but I think it's going to make the Prowler's lockdown mode completely not unuseful. And the reason is they're encouraging tanks to get closer to fight each other. And lockdown is just it's just not useful if you're in a close-on fight, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it's like I keep saying the Prowler, I think it's the worst tank against the other MBTs, but it's the best tank against infantry.
Oh, definitely.
We can just set up on a hill or outside a tower and just wreck them. But then we get a Mag Rider Vanguard one-on-one. In my opinion, is a little difficult sometimes to take out. So, I'm for the changes as far as seeing how the stabilization is going to work.
Yeah, I think the only one I'd throw out is trying to force tanks to get closer to each other. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah, because I'm like playing a Prowler. I'm used to being more of a piece of artillery.
Yeah, well, that's the way I see it too. When you're in lockdown mode way in the back, you are artillery. And I agree, that's a good thing for them. But if they're looking to force people to fight closer, I don't know how that lockdown is going to really be useful anymore. I think it's going to be like Zoe. People aren't going to be using it anymore.
And would you not think that try to draw them in closer is automatically going to give an advantage to the Vanguard?
I think it will give an advantage to the Vanguard with the shield, but don't forget they just nerfed the shield a few patches ago, so it's not as good as it was. I do think getting them in closer, definitely, and with the fact that they can move forward and reverse the same speeds, I do think these changes help the Vanguard more than anything else.
Yeah, I agree. And what's some of the secondary weapons did they have, like a big ginormous shotgun that goes on the top of it too?
The canister?
Yeah, which I know a lot of NC players say is crap. It may be good now that everything's going to have to get closer. So
I love canister.
I've heard a lot of guys that dislike it, especially like on the. Can you use it on a harasser too?
Yes.
But yeah, I think that's what they were complaining about. It was awful on the harasser, but I've not used it, so I can't speak about it. But we'll see how those play out. Like I said, it looks like the Vanguard's going to be even more difficult to take now.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you.
In a tank battle.
All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room. This is the Liberator changes. So, Kevmo states, quote unquote, "We feel the risk for the Liberator is not high enough in most situations. So, as a result, they're looking to reduce the effective range of all belly guns, which will slow down the projectiles. They also feel that current range makes it too hard for ground forces to defend against the Liberator, makes it too easy for the Liberator to escape once it comes under fire. Lowering the ranges puts the Liberator more at risk and gives ground forces more time to respond, whether it's ducking for cover or returning fire." Further details on these range changes. They're looking to use the Zephyr as the baseline, and they intend to lower the Dalton to match the Zephyr's damage. So currently the Zephyr has a velocity of 200. They're considering bringing it down to 175. And then obviously bringing the Dalton down to 200. So I know a lot of people aren't happy about it, but going further, roles of the belly guns are being better defined and receiving a reduction in effectiveness versus personnel, except for the Duster. So they want the Dalton to be the premier anti-tank weapon. They want the Zephyr to be similar, but doing slightly less tank damage, but being slightly better at anti-personnel due to a larger magazine round. They want the Shredder to be similar to the Zephyr in terms of tank damage, but by virtue of being a chain gun, it would be better against fast movers like harassers and other aircraft. And finally, they want the Duster to be the premier anti-personnel weapon, and they're going to be giving it some buffs. Next up, they're going to be lowering the ammo on all belly guns. Basically, they feel that they have so much ammo that they can be spammed right now. They want gunners to think twice about taking the shot and whether it's a waste of ammo or not. Similarly, they're going to be making those same changes to the bulldogs, making reduced range and give it a better, more defined role. Right now, they think it's good at everything, and it's even better than the Walker in some instances. So look for a reduce in projectile speed and blast damage to push it towards the intended role of a supplemental anti-ground weapon. Next up, they feel their internal data shows that 90+% of all players are using the Tank Buster. And it completely eclipses all other nose gun options that people are using. And furthermore, they feel it's too effective against heavily armored targets. And once again, improper risk versus reward. So they're going to be lowering its damage so that it's closer to the vector in damage. So it'll be a little bit stronger, but by not such of a huge margin. So further details on that Kevmo put in. He's seeing a lot of people commenting that the issue is not that the Tank Buster's too good, but that other nose guns are bad, and instead they want buffs to the other nose gun. His reply is that they feel the Tank Buster is so far out of line compared to the other guns that the first step they need to do is bring it closer in line, and then they can make further assessments from there. Feedback that the Tank Buster is too good and the numbers back this up. And the alternate approach does not help us fix that. So arguments aside, don't expect them to not make these changes to the Tank Buster no matter what people say. Last but not least, the stock resistance to tank rounds and some heavy assault rockets that were made in the last Liberator update are being reverted back to normal. Currently, they just are too difficult. So they're looking to bring it back to being able to be destroyed in around 2 hits from these weapons. Again, that's stock. Composite armor will still provide additional resistance, but ultimately will be less than the current version. I know that's a lot to take in, and I know that neither of us really fly too much, but there was a decent post from Dreadnought about the Liberator changes. But before I get into that, what are your thoughts regarding everything I just went through, Ak?
I just think they're going too far to one extreme. Personally, I don't think the weapons are, that bad as far as out of line. I agree with if the Tank Buster data is coming in at 90% people using it, then, there's probably something going on there. But in my opinion, they're just a little too hard to bring down right now. So I think, why don't we just, reduce the armor a little bit, leave the weapons alone and see what happens from there. Because I don't really see that big of a difference as far as them just obliterating things, but they're just so hard to bring down right now. So that's my 2 cents on the subject.
I definitely agree. I think that for the most part, they're taking it too far to one extreme, like they did with the Harasser nerf. And as we all remember, the Harasser nerf basically made it that people got pissed. Everybody said, bring back our Harasser. And look, they've look to be making a lot of those changes back to bringing them back to the Harasser. I'm not going to disagree that there are some changes that need to be made to the Liberator. There are far too many Liberators in the game right now, and I do feel that they're far too difficult to kill when you're just a ground pounder. I don't think that they're as difficult when they're up in the air, but I think when you're just an infantry on the ground that it is difficult to take out the Liberators, and maybe they are a little too powerful right now, but I don't think that they need as many changes as they do all at once. And this seems to be Sony's, modus operandi, is they throw in as many changes as they possibly can all at once. And it just sends the community into an absolute tizzy over it. We saw it with the Harasser, and I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's too much for one thing, but that's my opinion.
So as I said, Dreadnought has a great post over on, and I consider Dreadnought to be probably one of the premier Liberator pilots out there. He says in his post, over 1,500 hours piling in a lib. That includes tech test, beta, live, everything. This guy plays Liberator nonstop. Every time I see him in game, he's in the Liberator. So I take what he says with the utmost confidence. So just to go through his post quickly, he feels that the belly gun range really is a terrible change, and he thinks it's hard enough to hit anything that's moving currently. And it's not going to really change anything except to make it near impossible for Dalton users to hit other aircraft, which is what the main use, well, not the main use, but a good use of Dalton's right now. He feels that the single hardest thing to do in game will become near impossible. He says fix anti-air instead of messing with projectile speeds. Next up, excuse me. He says the Dalton, you should just be reducing the splash damage against infantry. Don't reduce projectile speed. Shredder, he feels that you should nerf it against maxes. Really, nothing else needs to be changed. He says the Duster's junk, just get rid of it. People can use the Zephyr instead. He does agree with the ammo capacity change, though. It's too easy to rearm, and he does feel that this is a change that has needed to be in for a long time. For the Bulldog, he says leave it alone, don't change it, and I tend to agree with him there. I think the Bulldog's difficult to hit another aircraft with as it is, and I think it does well in its current role, and I was happy when they added that to the Liberator itself.
I agree. I like gunning it. I mean, I don't think it's. I agree with you completely too about hitting the air. It's way more difficult than with other weapons, and I think it's fine where it's at.
And his final thing regarding the resistance to tank rounds, he's okay with that change as well, because it's putting it back to where it used to be, and he doesn't feel it should have ever been really buffed in the first place. So going into how he would actually approach this update, and I give him credit for this as well, he says the number one thing that should be added to the game, rather than perhaps making all these nerfs and everything, is just to update the Liberator sound. Because right now, if you're in a tank, you can't hear the Liberator coming. If you could buff the sound of the Liberator and make it so it's so loud as it's coming up on you, people in tanks would be able to move more, get out of the way more, and combat them a little bit more. So I'm surprised it's such a simple change. Probably would add a lot to the Liberator and being able to combat the Liberator. My opinion, at least.
I agree. I think that I hadn't thought of that either. That's a really good idea, because if you sometimes depending on your mini map, you don't have enough. If you had a prior notice of it to get the heck out of Dodge, go for it, and that's a small change that I think would definitely help.
All right, let's wrap this up with the ESF changes that they're looking to implement. And again, these are all just being talked about currently. They're not on PTS. They're not on live. They may never end up coming on live. But again, Sony's very transparent on changes they intend to make to the game and love to push them out. So it may be a case where, like I said before, they do too much too fast, but maybe they're just throwing everything out there against the wall to get feedback. But again, none of this is in the game yet, and some of it may never end up being in game. So again, ESF changes, moving along with the concept that they want Liberators to be the anti-vehicle air. They're going to make some adjustments to the ESFs as well. So they're going to reduce the effectiveness of rocket pods against vehicles. They feel they're all around too good. They don't want them to be both good at killing infantry and good at killing vehicles. Lowering their effectiveness against vehicles really further defines the Liberator as the anti-vehicle air option and keeps the ESF as anti-ground. Finally, Air Hammer, they feel it's too effective against Liberators and other heavy armor, so they're looking to reduce that. It's too capable of doing too much DPS to those targets. I'm worried about how far they're going to go with the rocket pod nerf. If they slightly nerf it, then I'm not too concerned with it. I'm just worried about them over nerfing it. It shouldn't be able to destroy tanks in a single clip, but maybe 2 passes it could do it. So my fear is that they're going to over nerf it.
It just seems like everything they're doing is just trying to make every single weapon in the game more situational against other things.
Mm.
Which I'm not saying is always necessarily a bad thing, but like there's certain things that we see that are decent against everything, and maybe they're being used too much. And now that we're getting to the point to where they're trying to, make, hey, this weapon's going to be good for armor, this weapon's going to be good for infantry, this weapon's going to be good for, anti-air. So, which I guess is maybe what they're shooting for, which does make sense.
Yeah, but it kind of, and Dr. Joski in the chat room says, I have no idea what the use for low pods is supposed to be. Everything keeps being changed. So, maybe if they really focus on what they're supposed to be used for, I don't know. I think we've spent enough time on the Tank and Liberator changes. Again, none of this is on live. None of this is on PTS. None of this may ever come to fruition. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be getting your thoughts out there. And a lot of people already have. So I'm sure SOE is happy with the feedback. Kevmo specifically, I'm sure, is ecstatic with the feedback that people are giving. And they read everything they put out there. So continue to post your responses to these pending changes. All right, but we do have a roadmap update on continent locking. You want to take that for me, Ak?
Yeah. So some goals of the continent locking: give control over to the world state to the players. Players control which continents are open, will have alerts, and when warp gates will rotate. So that's going to be kind of some cool changes, I think. See how that's going to play out.
I'm excited for that too, especially if you're able to control alerts. I know we'll talk about alerts a little in a few.
Which the alert systems, in my opinion, there's some problems with it. And we'll see the changes. Got new continent lock state. Continents will have a new lock state. Multiple continents can be locked at a time. When a continent is in the lock state, spawning on the continent is disabled. Interaction with any facility objects is disabled for all players, and all territories and warp gates will be owned by the locking faction. Also, there will no longer be fortnightly warp gate rotations, as the rotations will be triggered by locking and unlocking alone, which I think is very cool too, because we get our once a month or quarter or whatever, whenever they decide they want to do it now. So,
I did see a funny graphic about this where someone posted a picture of Indar, Amrish, and Hassan all locked for them, and only Esamir open, and the post underneath it was something along the lines of logged in, saw that Esamir was open, logged off.
So I'm not the only one that feels like that. I don't like fighting on that continent.
I love Esamir, so it's just me, but
I like old Esamir.
I do kind of see that happening though. If let's say you're only able to get onto one continent and it's a continent that you don't even like playing on, that's my only fear about continent locking.
Yeah.
In PlanetSide 1, where we had 500,000 continents, it wasn't as big a deal because there were always at least 3 or 4 continents that you could play on at any given day. But where there's so few continents currently in PlanetSide 2, that's my fear, is that I'm going to log on one day and only the virtual reality is going to be open.
I'm worried about getting stuck on Esamir for like 3 months since evidently I'm going to be playing for the Underpop faction.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We'll
but
see.
As far as I'm concerned, anything that ends in our side is fine with me.
Yeah, I agree, because it's nice. I've been seeing a lot of Amherst fights, so I've been happy with that. So, but yeah, Esamir still. It's definitely my least favorite to play on. But
come on, you don't like playing at the Octagon?
The Octagon's pretty awesome, but sometimes depending on which warp gate I'm at, I don't ever see it, even though it is in the middle of the map. So sometimes it's a long road to hoe to get there. But population regulation and lock state. The minimum number of unlocked continents will be determined by current world population. The number of unlocked continents will be equal to a population value that can support good fights on those continents.
So I assume that means it should never happen where you log in and 3 out of 4 continents are locked.
Which is smart on their part. Yeah. So it looks like somebody in the middle of the night can't just run rampant and go and lock everything down. So that's a definite thing that I think they've looked forward to. So I'm happy about that. Some of the continent lock benefits, we're looking at reworking the continent lock benefits to be more impactful and appealing. They're asking for some feedback on this. So I'm assuming they want more than just what our standards are now with, just the 10% off on whatever resource that continent's, for, like armor for SME or infantry for Indar and Amherst for air.
I assume they'll be throwing those out altogether.
It's a possibility they could and just start coming up with different things altogether, which would be nice because, that's kind of old and stale now. So
I think it should be something wacky, like if you capture Amherst, you get 1% discount on armor, 2% discount on infantry, 3% discount on air, and a 0.5% discount on all purchases in the store.
That would be great. Or we just get snowball guns, all right?
Yeah.
New snowball guns. And then the Indar, I guess it can just shoot like big clods of mud or dirt, sand. There we go. We can just shoot sand out of something. One of the coolest things about this, I think, is definitely the adversarial alerts. Adversarial alerts will be how empires lock a continent, and unlike current alerts, they will be triggered by player actions alone, which I think's that really excites me.
It does. It excites me too. Yeah.
All currently existing alerts will be depreciated in favor for these new alerts. These new alerts will be tied to the continent which triggered them, so simultaneously adversarial alerts on different continents will be possible. So does this look like it's going to be something that maybe it's going to get rid of, like, say, the biodome alerts and stuff like that? All that's going away?
Well, I assume that the adversarial alert will probably be going on, but I wouldn't be so soon to say that biodome will not be there at the exact same time. I wonder if there'll be multiple alerts going on.
That's possible. But yeah, I would agree with you, what you're saying, because it said that the adversarial alerts will take precedence over any other alert.
Yeah. But what if one is already going on, though? Like, let's say Biolab alert is going on, and then bam, you hit the threshold for an adversarial alert to be triggered. Does that happen at the exact same time?
Possible. And I wonder if they're going to give more XP for the adversarial alerts as opposed to the current alerts. That would definitely get people to go more towards the adversarial alerts, possibly. So we'll see what they decide to do with that. But and also initially, adversarial alerts will be purely based on territory conquest. They plan on improving adversarial alerts over time with more unique mechanics for diversity in gameplay, such as payload, rabbit, capture all things, etc.
I remember Rabbit from PlanetSide 1. I don't know what payload is.
Was payload where you had to escort the...
Yeah, you're right.
It was like an escort mission or something, wasn't it? It was sort of like what was the thing? The ant?
The ant, yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of similar if I can remember. I played PS1 a little bit, not a lot, but I do kind of think that's what it was like. And
the rabbit was when something would spawn in the map. The rabbit would actually spawn in the map, and you actually had to go to it, pick it up, and then return it to a base.
Right.
And that's how you'd get credit for winning that alert. So it was a lot of harasser play.
Answer a question in chat room. I think from what I'm understanding, the adversarial alerts will happen on different continents simultaneously, possibly.
Yeah, Elemental TRL says adversarial alert be on one continent, but you can still have Biolab alert on the other two continents. So it sounds like the adversarial will overrule the any like a Biolab map station type one.
Right. Any of the current alerts we have now.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, it says when an empire captures a certain threshold of a continent, an adversarial alert will be created. For the empire doing the conquering, the alert objective is to capture and or maintain a certain amount of territory when the alert ends. For the other two empires, the alert objective is to stop the dominant empire from doing that. If the conquering empire wins, then the continent is locked. If not, then the battle rages on. They will be tuning the values of the adversarial alerts if they end up being too difficult or too easy to achieve. So this kind of, I think, answers my question that I sent in to you guys for Higby about if, like, say, for instance, the NC have got a much higher population and the VS and TR would push towards the NC territory, possibly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it exactly answers with the question you asked, Higby. You're right.
Which I think in my opinion, is definitely one of the smartest things. I just, if we're looking at a 50% NC population, 25% Vanu, 25% TR, then I know territory's territory on a territory alert, but it just would make sense if you're pushing against, the bigger enemy.
I agree, and I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah, that one I think is really the most logical alert or type of alert that we could have in the game. So I really like that a lot.
I do too. I hadn't really read about the adversarial alerts until earlier this evening as I was putting together the show notes. Earlier this evening I was putting together the show notes. Wink, wink. Not during work today instead of doing regular work. And I really picked up on that stuff. And the adversarial alerts sound very exciting. I want them in game now.
Yeah, so do I, because the current alert system, like I said, it was a stepping stone. I know that it was the first iteration of what we're going to see, but these just sound so much more active, and we hear people talking about the meta in this game, and I don't see how this can improve that. So I think this is one of the more exciting things. I would probably put Hassan and then this as far as things I'm looking forward to in the game.
I wonder how difficult it would be to throw these alerts in right now. Maybe not the one where it's for locking, not throwing in so much the locking portion of it, but why can't they already throw this alert in at any given time? Bam, it triggers that TR hold 3/4 of the continent. They need to capture the rest of the continent and fight against the other two. I wonder how difficult it would be to throw something like that into the game right now rather than wait and, work all the bugs out of that before it actually goes into the continent locking portion.
It's, I'm not, me and you, neither one are programmers, so it seems like it'd be easy just to send, because the way it works now is it pretty much just sends you on a path down the lattice line. So why not that was my thing, when we were talking, sending the question for Higby, is why not just instead of having an alert going towards the NC and having an alert going towards the VS, if the NC are way more popped, why not just have your only alert for your Empire going towards the higher pop instead of having one going towards each pop?
Yeah.
So, but I don't know.
All right. Well, I think we've finished our run on community briefing. I didn't post this week's community question. I apologize. So we're just going to skip it this week. And we're going to move on to the good, bad, and the OP.
Have another drink on me, soldier.
Okay, thank you kindly.
If you can look hard enough past all the death and all the sorrow, there are good things. You must remember that we will overcome. The good, the bad, and the overpowered.
All right, good, bad, OP for the week. My good is going to have to be the potential tank changes that they've talked about. I'm excited for tank changes. I like to play in tanks, so any changes they do, bring them on. I'd like to see them sooner rather than later in the game. My bad, I'm going to go towards E3 and say that I was a little disappointed that the only PlanetSide 2 talk at E3 so far was them showing 3 seconds of PlanetSide 2 footage during the opening thing saying, by the way, we're going to have some free-to-play games. One of them is PlanetSide 2. Next. I'm a little disappointed that's all we've seen so far. I know we still have, I think it's Thursday, from 10 to 12 or something is when they're actually doing some other stuff regarding PlanetSide 2. So I guess I'll have to wait for that. But I expected a little bit more from such a game such as awesome as PlanetSide 2 on PS4.
I agree, but unfortunately I'd say the announcement Thursday will probably be mostly PS4 talk. That's my
it'll be completely PS4 talk, but I just expected more.
I agree. Well, my good for the week, all my stuff for SOE Live is booked. I've got my hotel taken care of, my SOE pass, got my t-shirt ordered, and hopefully we'll get the t-shirts and badges soon, and flights booked. So I'm pretty much ready to go. So that's definitely good.
Yeah, I was excited about the t-shirt. I like the way for those that don't know or aren't going to SOE Live, first off, shame on you. Second off, if you register, they're going to be mailing you your badge. But also, in addition to that, they sent us an email Friday. Was it Friday or Saturday? About how to claim a T-shirt by Jinx. And you actually go to the Jinx site, you put in all your info, size, and they're actually going to ship you your shirt before SOE Live. We didn't. Did you wait in line long to get your shirt last year?
I didn't wait in line so long to get the shirt. It was waiting in line to get the badge. That's
true. Well, I waited in line 0 minutes for my badge, but that's just me.
Yeah, and then we found that. Then I found out that the little store was almost sold out of everything. So that day, I got my one T-shirt that I liked. My I think it was the Max shirt.
Yeah, the Max one. Yeah.
So my bad for the week. I'm gonna go with me and my girlfriend went to like a local Comic Con, and I don't know if you guys know who Kevin Conroy is. He was the voice of Batman in the Batman animated series and most of the Arkham games. Paid $40 for an autograph and a picture, and she had makeup or something all over the lens on her camera, and the picture came out blurry, so you can't even tell who it is. So she's not going to live that one down for a while. But so that's definitely the worst bat I've actually probably had in a while.
So my question is, does she wear too much makeup?
No, it was actually in her purse, and like the funny part of the story was, I told you earlier, but she took the picture and it was blurry. And she was like, "Oh, it's bad. Let me take another one." And she took another one, and she's like, "Okay, that one's good." So as we're walking away, she's like, "That one was blurry too." She goes, "But I freaked out because there were so many people in line. I was afraid they'd start yelling at me." And I was like, "Oh, that's great." So yeah, the pictures. I'll post it on my Twitter and let everybody see how blurry and bad you can't even tell who it is. So.
Yeah, better luck next time.
Yeah, taking somebody else to the next Comic-Con.
Hopefully he doesn't die before the next Comic-Con.
He's not that old, actually, so I hope not either. But yeah, the only other thing I think he's ever done was, do you remember the Tour of Duty show?
No.
You don't remember the guys in Vietnam?
No.
It was he was on it. That was like the only other major role that I can ever remember him having. So it was a great show back in the day. It was like in late 80s or something.
Well, why don't I know that show?
And the intro was awesome too because it played Rolling Stones' "Paint It Black."
I'm gonna have to look that up after the show. Tour of Duty, huh?
Yeah, they re-released it like on TNT a few years ago or something, and they changed the intro song. But it was pretty neat because it dealt with a lot of some of the personal stuff and issues. Like I know there was a huge thing in Vietnam between black and white people as far as back at the barracks and stuff. And it plays on that some too. And then you get, cool action scenes and stuff with the guns and, shooting out in the shit, as they called it. So it was a good show.
Okay. I'm going to have to go look that up. All right. Unfortunately, we have nothing for the mailbag this week. I think Torque said there was an email from Sonny regarding the Araxis Literary Awards, but I'm going to save that for next week. So really nothing out of the mailbag this week. I will instead take a minute to thank everybody who's in the live chat room this evening. I see Apis 104, Arctorn, Chaos Gauge, Crispy Joe, Dr. Yoski, Elemental TRL, Fiend X85, Future 04, Image, Conloke, Night Snow, One Shot 003, Blanco, Blue Engineer, Time Lude, and Jurgna. Thank you all for coming out to episode 89, the live show. If I missed you, I apologize. Contact info, as always, our website is reachcastshow.com. You can email us at reachcastshow@gmail.com. Call us, 415-787-3224. Our Twitch, www.twitch.tv/reachcast. Our show Twitter is at ReachCastShow. You can also reach us personally on Twitter. You can get me at the Deringer. Where can people find you on Twitter?
I'm at T-shaped visor.
I've never asked you why you're at T-shaped visor.
Do you not know what a T-shaped visor is?
No.
Boba Fett's helmet.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Yeah. Do you remember my tattoo?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'm a massive Star Wars fan. So
a friend of mine's going to yell at me for not knowing that.
Yeah.
Okay. As always, we want to thank the rest of the ReachCast crew, Steve, Cliff, John, Jenny, Boo, and Hamma. That's going to be it for this week. I want to thank you for filling in for Torx this week, Ak. It was a pleasure having you on.
I appreciate you guys having me. I always have a good time. So, anytime you need somebody, hit me up.
All right, let's blast out this outro.
That's right, Sergeant. You made the call.
All right, soldiers, you've
done a great job here today. Let's get our stuff and get the hell out of here.